In a world completely overrun by zombies, where the deadly zombie virus had been spreading for 6 long years, yet this brother and sister had managed to survive inside a lonely mansion, proving resilience and survival strength that not everyone possessed because the dangers they faced were far greater than our imagination. As not long ago, a young couple had driven up to that same mansion, and when the brother named Jim stepped out holding what looked like a toy gun, the man directly asked him where his parents were, but Jim remained silent and gave no answer. And later that night, Jim and his little sister sealed every door and window as children who looked like zombies were standing outside ready to break in. Yet somehow the night passed, and in the morning, Jim checked the bullets in his gun magazine, showing it was no toy, as the siblings again went out to play, only for the same pickup truck to return, this time with the couple much harsher in tone, again demanding to know where the parents were, and Jim lied saying they went to town for supplies. But fooling two adults was never easy, as the smiling woman pointed out that town was hours away and insisted they would stay here to protect the kids until their return. And when they saw a mansion full of food and a working fridge, they quickly decided to remain, with Jack, the man, hiding their truck as though afraid of being followed. And in the silence of night, Jim secretly overheard them speaking, realizing they liked this place too much, so he took his sister to the safe room, as always a survival habit that had kept them alive. And by morning, Jack acted like the house was already his, making breakfast early, while calm Jim whispered over, "Before you know it,
it will be over before you know it."
And when night returned, Jim asked strangely if the time had come.
Is it time?
And his loyal dog sniffed him, then nodded as if to confirm. So Jim lifted his sister into his arms and locked her inside the secure chamber. While downstairs, the couple remained unaware of the danger looming, until the woman left for the bathroom and saw zombies hunched outside the window, quickly turning off the light, thinking darkness would hide her. But suddenly the door behind opened, making Jack suspicious, as he pulled out his gun and froze in horror at the bloody sight of his girlfriend lifeless on the floor. And after that, the couple disappeared from the story forever, while Jim and his sister acted as if nothing had happened. And the next day they were playing outside again. Surely not the first time someone had tried to invade their home. Meanwhile, a long-haired man was trekking through the frozen forest, following traps in the snow, until he reached the mansion where suddenly a little girl appeared before him. Jim was already pointing a pistol at him, and during questioning it was revealed his name was Adon, a special forces soldier searching north for his missing wife, which surprised Jim because this man seemed different, since Adon did not ask for food or medicine, only for his gun back. Jim then made a deal that if Adon helped and restarted the electricity in the mansion, he would return the gun. And when Adon asked where his parents were, this time Jim did not lie, as he revealed that his father was a scientist missing for a long time, and his mother was an intelligence agency operative who had gone on a mission only a few days ago and was expected to return soon. And as Adon kept looking at the running machine, memories seemed to flood back into him, and he was shocked to learn that the entire mansion was actually powered by electricity generated from the treadmill, when suddenly outside the window, a zombie appeared moving slowly, and without hesitation, Adon grabbed an iron rod, rushed out and killed it. But when he returned covered in blood, Jim screamed angrily, asking why he killed it, since all the glass was bulletproof, and no matter how many zombies came, they could never break in. And though Adon was scolded, he began to feel even more compassion for the siblings. So he climbed on the treadmill himself and decided to generate power manually, running through the night until he nearly collapsed. And at some point, Jim's little sister approached, circling him for a moment before wrinkling her nose and laughing as she said he smelled bad before running away, making Adon rush to the bathroom for a shower. And soon after, the little girl returned with a hairpin to gift him, while Jim had already gone outside early in the morning to check the traps with his sister, as they did every day since that was their first line of defense. And once again, a living zombie had been caught in one of the snares. While inside the mansion, Adon ate breakfast before finding the old workplace of Jim's mother, where pictures and a car key lay on the table. And sprinting to the garage, he discovered the vehicle broken and useless. Then noticing a small room in the corner, he thought it might be a tool room and tried to enter. But just then, Jim, returning from outside, shouted loudly, stopping him. And after spending more than a day together, the siblings began to believe Adon was not a bad man, even no longer sleeping in the security chamber. Though strangely, Jim handcuffed himself for reasons unknown. And just before dawn, Adon was awakened by footsteps outside, realizing Jim had gone again on his patrol toward the same old trap where yesterday's zombie was still stuck. And while Jim was still thinking, Adon arrived believing the trapped zombie might actually be Jim's mother and about to grant her release. But Jim raised his gun once more and stopped him, making Adon furious as he stormed back to the mansion and forced open the tool room door that Jim had tried to keep him away from. Inside the room, a mat was spread on the floor and muddy claw marks scratched across the walls, showing clearly that a zombie had once been kept imprisoned there. And Adon's suspicions grew stronger when suddenly the sound of an engine came from outside as new survivors arrived, circling the mansion with weapons and bad intentions. And though Adon had no gun, he could do nothing, while Jim, returning from her mountain patrol, watched everything from afar, and her little sister waved frantically from the second-floor window. But then Adon suddenly appeared and attacked directly, killing one of them, which gave Jim relief, as the others, seeing every window and door sealed, quickly retreated to their vehicle and drove away. And after this moment, Jim finally trusted Aiden enough to return his weapon. Yet Adon felt a strange pull inside, and as if it might soon be time for him to leave, though he was not sure why. And that night in his dream, he once again heard the desperate voice of his wife calling him, and by morning he had made a decision to take the siblings with him on his journey to find her, believing both his mission and their safety would be achieved. But Jim refused immediately, saying he would stay here and wait for his mother's return. And before more could be spoken, chaos erupted outside as the same bandit returned with reinforcements and captured Jim's sister, while guns were drawn on both sides, ready for a deadly clash, until shots rang out from a distance, dropping two raiders instantly as Adon charged forward, rescuing the girl and discovering the shooter was none other than Jim's mother, Lena, a secret agent. Though in that moment, Adon himself was shot in the chest and collapsed, and nobody knew how much time passed before he awoke with his wound mysteriously healed and his body tied by rope. And Lana revealed to him the truth that normal infected lost their minds and were driven only by hunger and thirst, but a rare kind of special infected kept their intelligence while also gaining zombie strength, rapid healing, and disease immunity. Though if badly wounded or too much time passed, they would slip into a crazy mode, acting like mindless zombies. And Adon realized with shock that he himself was one of them. As Lena explained, he should have died from the bullet, yet instead he went crazy and recovered the next day. And she further revealed that Jim was also a special infected, and that it was actually who had killed the couple during one of his crazy nights, which explained why he handcuffed himself before sleep. And when Adon asked if the crazy mode could be predicted, Lena explained that Jim's dog had been specially trained to smell the subtle changes in his body and warn them. And Adon remembered the room with claw marks where Jim was locked during those nights. And just then another engine roared as Lena, carrying her daughter, dealt with armed militia led by a white-bearded man who already knew her, since his own daughter had run away with a boy, leaving him desperate to search with his men. But Lena promised she would inform him if she saw them, so he left reluctantly. And that night, Adon casually asked what this mansion really was, and Lena revealed that the National Security Bureau had long suspected the zombie virus could spread, so thousands of hidden shelters had been built across deserted regions, each designed with advanced security, strong construction, and independent energy systems. And while Adon felt restless, thinking this knowledge could have saved many innocent lives, Lena sadly explained the truth about her family, as Jim and his sister were born with congenital heart disease, and their father, a biologist who first discovered the zombie virus, made a desperate decision when he realized Jim would not live beyond 3 years by injecting the virus into his son. And through a strange miracle, Jim became a special infected. But during his first crazy mode, he attacked his own father, who was bitten, and eventually turned into a mindless zombie, forcing Lena to kill her husband with her own hands. A revelation that left Adon shaken, yet filled with deep respect for the mother who sacrificed everything to protect her small family. And slowly, Lena's trust in Adon also grew, until one day Jim's dog barked, signaling his condition was worsening, and Lena locked him inside while horrifying screams echoed through the room, breaking her heart. Though she silently sat outside, knowing there was no other way, when Adon placed his hand on her shoulder and promised he would stand guard, showing the strength of having a man in the house. But none of them expected Jim's sister to suddenly collapse while playing outside, her heart disease flaring once again, with no advanced medical treatment available. And Adon suggested infecting her with the zombie virus like Jim in hopes of a miracle. But Lena refused firmly, saying Jim's survival was 1 in a million, and her daughter had already endured far too much pain. In the end, both of them decided to let the little sister go peacefully, and Jim, Lena, and Adon together carried out her final journey. And after that, the time came for Adon to leave. Even though Jim and Lena begged him to stay, Yet he stood firm and set out once again to search for his wife, leaving the home suddenly emptier as Lena and her children felt the silence of loss settle across the mansion. While in the nearby forest, the men of the white-bearded leader discovered the hidden car that Jack had once concealed, proving the old saying true that tragedy becomes story. Because the very couple who had once tried to seize the mansion were the same people who had run away with the white-bearded man's daughter. And now, with the vehicle's location exposed, the closest safe house was Lena's mansion. So the militia resolved to investigate it again. And meanwhile, Adon, sleeping in the snow, awoke to the sound of hurried footsteps. And when he looked outside, he saw multiple tracks across the snow, along with fresh tire marks leading directly to Lena's home, filling him with anxiety as he sprinted down the path until he saw from afar that the mansion had been completely overtaken by the militia. And inside, the white-bearded man accused Lena of hiding the truth about his daughter, since his men had found a small belonging of hers in the house, leaving Lena speechless with no defense. While Adon quietly breached the perimeter and slipped inside, where he discovered Jimster hiding in the kitchen. And after assessing the enemy numbers, he drew his weapon and moved through the shadows like a god of death, silently eliminating each guard until reaching the main hall, where multiple guns were suddenly aimed at his head. But to everyone's shock, Aiden pressed a knife to his own throat, slashing it open, making the militia freeze in disbelief, while only Lena understood his intent as she quickly carried Jimster out of the hall. And just as Lena had expected, within moments, Aiden fully transformed into his uncontrollable crazy mode, becoming an unstoppable force tearing through the entire gang until none were left. But this time, Lena had not restrained him beforehand and was forced to flee with her son into the night as Adon's roars drew countless zombies swarming toward the house. And when morning came, Adon awoke to find the mansion utterly destroyed, and on the table a letter from Lena saying she and her son had taken the car north, and if fate allowed, perhaps they would meet again. And with a faint smile, Adon picked up the little sister's favorite doll, strapped it to his back, and began walking north. And that was the complete story of the film.